Welcome to Diz and Hers, the show about what's happening in the Disney community from his, hers, and your perspective. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Eric. And on the show today, Michael Eisner just gave his most candid interview in decades, and he did not hold back. Disney is making billion-dollar AI moves. The Savannah Bananas are bringing Banana Ball back to Disneyland for one high-energy day, and Lightning Lane Premier Pass is selling out during one of the busiest weeks of the year. The question is, would you pay for it? That and more on the show today. But I think, Lauren, you and I are both excited about this first story.
Yes, I mean, like, if you're a Michael Eisner fan, like Eric and I are, this is the stuff that makes your heart go pitter-patter. So here recently, Michael Eisner sat down with Graham Bensinger on the In Depth with Graham Bensinger show, and we were watching it on YouTube. And the way we even stumbled upon it was kind of funny because, you know, Eric and I are searching, I'd say monthly, for like anything new Michael Eisner, right?
Well, monthly is a little hardcore, but no, it's in our saved search. A lot of times I'll just type in Michael Eisner, especially, you know, early on, maybe years ago, because we just wanted to watch a bunch of his stuff. And we always stumble upon like some of the documentaries that talk about some of his stuff. What was the one we were just recently watching? It was like a 7-part series.
The Kings of the Kingdom.
Yeah, it was basically the book Disney War, but done in a YouTube short. So we are always searching for Michael Eisner. It was great. Yeah. So, but because we search for Michael Eisner often enough, the algorithm knows that.
Yes, and I feel like Christmas in February happened for the Herseys because Graham Bensinger, like we were saying, Michael Eisner granted him a long-form sit-down interview. And I mean, I don't know that we've really seen anything long-form like this since he left Disney originally in 2005. Michael Eisner's done a tremendous amount of like little interviews, like promotional interviews for his baseball cards or for his book. Like he was doing the media circuit, but this was like Graham had Michael Eisner back on the Disney campus, which he had not been since he left the company.
Yeah, that was the first one we watched. I was like, wow, they got him to just show up there. And then we realized it was multi-part. Like it was just one YouTube video that was 3-4 minutes and he's standing out in front and he's talking about it. And then you realize, no, this is a whole big thing. He was with him for a couple days.
Yeah, I mean, he was in his home. He was talking to his wife. Like, I mean, this was a big deal. But my first question, Eric, who's this guy? Like, who's this dude? Like, I never heard of him. So who is Graham Bensinger?
Right. Well, I didn't know either, and I just assumed as much as it was probably some news writer. You know, like I figured.
Like, how did he get Michael Eisner? That was right.
I just assumed
that's the biggest catch.
Right. I just assumed he was working for like CNN or Fox or NBC or something like that. But it turns out, so we went online and searched. We found out he is an American television journalist, and he's best known for hosting the syndicated interview series In Depth with Graham Bensinger. He specializes in the long-form sit-down conversations, and he does his homework. You can just tell that he's read books, and like his questions are direct, but like they're coming from things only somebody that did their homework would know. It's not your canned questions. We ended up watching a decent amount of interviews, not just Michael Eisner, from this. So but he started 2011? Lauren, you said that he's not just like a YouTuber though, right?
I was telling this to Eric off of here. Is like, I needed to know. I'm like, why this guy? Like, why now? And so not only is this guy a really great interviewer, he asks very thoughtful, pointed questions, but like he is scrappy as all get out. And his story is really fascinating. I would, recommend checking him out. But in a nutshell, he's from St. Louis. And I think he started doing this little online radio sports show when he was in 8th grade. And he researched all of these Major League Baseball athletes and got their home addresses and reached out to see if they would be on his little radio show. And what he initially became known for as, a minor child, I guess, was he interviewed O.J. Simpson, and the interview got picked up. I think it was on like Good Morning America and Diane Sawyer. And so he started out doing this sports content, and then, his interviews and stuff, like, it got picked up by ESPN. So, like Eric mentioned, syndicated show, worked with NBC Sports. And so now, in addition to the online content that you're seeing Graham put out, he also has a syndicated interview show that also is on television. So if you were wondering who this guy is, but how do we think he got Michael Eisner? Like, that's the most important part.
I don't know. I mean, he interviewed people like Michael Jordan. I saw that on the list. And recently, like, we saw him interviewing Ron Howard, and I know they had Barry Diller. So I don't know how he got Michael Eisner. I mean, I looked him up online, and he's our age. So I'm guessing he very much, if he's in the sports, like the Mighty Ducks, like that was very prominent, and Michael Eisner was all over the place. So it's interesting to say, but I did want to look him up and just be like, because right now he has a YouTube channel, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, does Michael Eisner have something to say in terms of like, did he go out and find somebody? He's trying to make a splash, and I was trying to figure out like, all right, what kind of reach does Graham have? So there is a cool website out there that we use a lot of times called socialblade.com, and it actually kind of ranks like YouTubers and online influencers. It gives them a grade and gives them where they rank and so forth, and it tells you how many views and all this stuff. So I went on there, and Graham does get a B score, which is pretty darn good. He ranks fairly high. I mean, he's not like the number one YouTuber of all time, but he is generating about 7 million views in 30-day period a time, and probably making a decent living, or at least a decent amount of money just from YouTube alone. So I think if Michael Eisner was like, hey, I'm going to do this interview series, this guy is credible, reputable, I like his style, he seemed to like really know his stuff. So I was okay with Graham getting this interview, and I think he did a heck of a job.
Well, I also think one of the things that he talked about, just kind of bringing this full circle before we actually get to the juicy stuff here, is that Graham or Michael did talk about the soccer team that he bought recently with his family in the UK, and they're trying to Disneyfy the soccer team and get it to Premier League status. So as much as Graham could have been a Disney fan, and he's our Walt if he's that same age, I think that like having an audience that is also very into sports, and Michael Eisner did come out with the Jimmy Kimmel of it all, and did make a comment that really got a lot of traction online, so maybe that put him top of mind. Nonetheless, he got the interview, and he's been putting out these little like 3 to 4 minute clips, maybe a couple a day, and I'm assuming that the majority of that information, like from that sit down long form, will come out. But something that he did, which the internet maybe doesn't love, or at least this one person that we have a comment from, was that he did drop the whole hour and 40-minute interview, but it is you got to pay for it if you want everything is one video.
Yeah, and we've been watching. We started watching a bunch of the short videos, and then we noticed that hey, there's this whole thing. So on YouTube, you can become a member. I think it's $6.99. So 6 Miles Tall on Twitter basically said, no reason this should be behind a paywall. But I will tell you what, I was very happy with the $7 I spent. We got to watch it all in one swoop, and we got everything early, and I would say this is well worth it. So Graham did a great job. Production quality is high, although every now and then you will hear a random car horn in the background, and it's explained in the actual video. But let's get to the juicy part. Let's talk about what actually was picked up and why we even know about it and why you guys are talking about it. There was a lot of juicy nuggets that Michael said. So we'll just talk about a couple of them here. Lauren, the first one I think we all saw as park fans is that he's not wild about today's park prices. What did Michael say?
Yeah, so first you got to give credit where credit is due. He was praising some of the changes. He was talking about the new leadership and making some of these changes are necessary for growth, and then he slipped in that he's not wild about how expensive it has become to visit Disneyland or Disney World. And then he went on to say that, like, he doesn't love that it is harder than ever for every guest to feel like a VIP. And I'm wondering, like, why do you think that hits different right now? And he said it like really nonchalant.
Yeah, he passed on it real quick. And I mean, I don't know if he wants to ruffle too many feathers. I mean, he was speaking candidly about almost everything, but I'm sure he still doesn't want to necessarily do any damage to Disney. I don't know if he still has stock or not, but yeah, he did mention that it was high. I mean, right now, everybody's talking about affordability. So the fact is that is a common issue. And we're going to talk a little bit later about the whole VIP experience a bit. But I found this story and I was kind of looking on the WDWNT Facebook group, and Derry Bednar basically just said, "We'll miss the way Eisner ran the parks. He truly loved the park goers and cared about their experience in the parks. He was a genius in making the Magical Express a thing, basically immediately trapped the guests in the Disney bubble." So I mean, yeah, I was never I've never got to witness the parks under Michael Eisner. I didn't go until 2010 when he was already gone, but the brilliance of the bubble still lasts to this day. But that wasn't the only thing he was talking about. Lauren, did you hear what he said about Chapek?
Oh, yeah. I think that the headline everybody latched onto was he described the Chapek era as a marriage made in hell. But just to give this a little bit of context here, they were talking about the new CEO announcement. And when they recorded this interview, Josh D'Amaro had not been announced as the new CEO. They were talking about, would it make sense to have CEOs, and then the transition of power. And, he wanted to take a minute to, pat himself on the back just a little bit to say, like, how well Bob Iger worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And even with how they got there, like, he was the right guy for the job. Like, he was a strong number two in every area that he was leading. So it made sense. And then, Graham went on to ask about Bob Chapek, and we got his hot take of him. It was a marriage made in hell, and he was just saying that he was the one who approved Bob Chapek coming on board from the very beginning with the Disney company, and he did a good job video where he was first. He did a fine job in the parks, but he was just not ever the right guy for that job. And he went on to talk about how Iger maybe wasn't just ready to like really leave yet, but he had a lot of thoughts about that.
Yeah, no, and there was a lot of other items, but I think one of the last item I kind of want to talk here is Michael Eisner actually mentioned AI briefly. And I grabbed this from Boardwalk Times on Twitter. He says, "I understand it, for instance, for our development from 2D animation to computer generation. I understand it in ways it's been written about. I certainly understand in healthcare and how it's being used. Do I think it's ever going to write an Academy Award-winning movie? No." So I think that's kind of an important statement, and I kind of was applauding Eisner for that, because I'm like, yes, he's got it right. Because, AI is very important and we use it all the time, but I still believe in the generated aspect of it is still a little murky for creatives out there. He's not the only one that has been talking about AI. So, Lauren, did you see just recently the whole board basically the board kind of initiatives for the new president, Dana Walden?
Yeah, and I mean, like, everybody's talking about AI. So some of the marching orders that they gave her is exploring how to incorporate AI into movie production as more of a time saving matter than like having the AI write or produce a movie, like cleaning stuff up, I'm sure. And then improving profits generated by Disney Plus, because we know that streaming is a hot button, a focus area, and finding that balance and profitability there. And then she went on and said that, that they're intending to use AI tools together. This is important, together with filmmakers and artists. And, they're not trying to replace the human creativity, but like most companies, they want to be able to improve workflows and like maybe open up some new possibilities that weren't considered or possible before.
And she's not the only one that was saying that. Josh D'Amaro basically was quoted. The reason this company is so special is because of how creative we are and the human beings that are generating that creativity. In my mind, that'll never get replaced. But that's the thing, is there's a lot of AI talk, and we all hear AI is going to take our jobs kind of thing. So when you hear creativity, AI, movies, I think we're all kind of getting scared that like, oh, all of a sudden we're going to have movies generated by AI, and that there are no more animation. There's nobody behind it. It's just show Stitch running, and that's what is going to happen. But that's not the case. But I know we all kind of live in fear from that perspective. But there has been a lot of announcements, right, Lauren? What is going on with the whole $1 billion investment? Because that was the first kind of AI topic, I think, that broke a couple months ago.
Yeah, and I think that was a big one. Not only because Disney made a $1 billion investment in, AI, and they have this new commercial partnership with OpenAI, and they were the first entertainment giant to make an investment like that. But people are immediately like, well, like, what does this mean? So for this investment, and like you hear a lot about them licensing 200 of their characters, Disney, Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, to be used in AI videos, and specifically on a platform called Sora. And Sora, if you're not familiar, is a social media platform that is 100% AI generated content. And so with this licensing deal, it would allow, fan-made AI-generated short-form videos that they can make and they can share on that platform. And then as a part of the partnership, Disney is looking for ways to use OpenAI's technology internally for different tools and workflows. And did you hear about them wanting to, add some of this AI generated content to Disney Plus?
Yeah, because that was the first, I do get I'm very skeptical of all AI announcements and stuff. So when they were talking about, hey, we're going to start creating like a fan community where you can upload content creators on Disney Plus, I'm like, well, don't we already have something there? Isn't YouTube where you can put that kind of stuff? So I'm not necessarily all into that, but it makes sense that if you're going to be able to create some of this content, hey, we'll put it over here and make money off of it per se. So I mean, they're investing $1 billion. They're not just doing that for their own, their own like health and safety. They will want to get money back out of that.
Yeah, but they're not just opening up the usage of their AI or their characters for AI usage in general, because like, didn't you say that they have been really cracking down at the same time on like unauthorized usage of the Disney characters?
Yeah, I think they went after ByteDance. So there was a whole bunch of characters being unauthorized, like they were being used. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to let someone use characters and pay money into that, you certainly can't let anybody else use it, because then it kind of waters everything down. So there has been some cease and desist letters sent to like ByteDance for the use of the intellectual property, so without their permission. But I mean, to kind of sum up some of this AI talk, let's be real.
I love AI talk.
Yeah, they're out of the creative space. They're really focusing. They're going to be rolling out some advertising analytics tools. And for someone who's used AI for some of that, like, yeah, let's take out some of this manual labor, especially when it's things that can't be done repetitively by a human being. Like you were talking a little bit about their advertising and how they can do something there, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're like it or not, like it sounds like they're trying to use this technology to build an advertising platform that is going to create more personalized advertising experiences that could never be done manually. So creating AI video or ads that are targeted and based on things that you specifically we're looking at to try to get you to buy and buy faster, to turn that creative around a lot quicker. I think that is where this is heading. So to bring this whole thing full circle, I don't think Disney is like anti-AI, but I think that they're trying to, one, be able to monetize it, and two, put some real guardrails up. So I'm assuming that there will be way more to come with this.
Yeah, and we want to hear your guys' opinions. What's your thoughts? AI with Disney. Is it going to be a good marriage? Is it going to get scary and icky real quick? Let us know what you think. But we have more to talk about, and coming up, we have some special visitors coming to Disneyland, and also news about the most expensive theme park perk at Walt Disney World selling out.
Welcome back, and are you ready to play some Banana Ball? I know I am. From the looks of Disneyland social media accounts, there's a lot of fans out there looking for a chance to see the Savannah Bananas this year, including me, including us. We love them, right?
Right. Well, the Savannah Bananas just came on my radar. Honestly, I've heard of them before, but I didn't realize how big of a deal they were until just this last year. And then I caught myself watching some Banana Ball on YouTube, because you really can't get any closer unless you're in some type of lottery. But if you are in Disneyland on March 26th this year, you will be very close. So, yeah, Lauren, what's going on with the Savannah Bananas?
Okay, so they're heading back to Disneyland, and it looks like over the last couple years, Disney has been, doing some cross promotion stuff with the Savannah Bananas. So, like, this isn't coming out of like left field that they're doing this collaborative.
What a pun. Look at that pun you got there. You didn't even know you made a pun.
I did not. But anyway, so we're talking March 26th, and the Bananas are coming back, and they're going to be having a celebration across Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure. And I originally saw them on TikTok, like they were just performing, like lip syncing these modern songs. And then once you watched one video, it's been years that I've been watching the Savannah Bananas, not even realizing that they had their own like form of baseball. But anyways, the franchise has expanded like rapid fire, and they've added new teams each year because they want to expand the league, just as if you were creating a traditional, like if you were creating the Major League Baseball from scratch. So you can't just have two teams. They had the Savannah Bananas and the Party Animals, and this year at Disneyland on that March 20th event, you're going to get to meet the Indianapolis Clowns. They're going to be appearing in both parks, and there's going to be a cavalcade along with the Disneyland parade route that's going to be on the Disneyland parade route. And then a performance in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle. And I have to say, like, Disney is not sleeping on the Bananas. This is like one team that they want in front of the castle.
Yeah, no, for sure. And they are doing they're going to have like specialty foods. But a lot of people are there for the sweepstakes, and this is why it kind of cropped up on our radar, because they're doing this massive like follow and share and hashtag. But they're giving away tickets. So, and it's not just for any game, it's at Angel Stadium. So, Lauren, I think, and there are some other aspects. They visited last year, and I think they're also going to be down at Walt Disney World in May. But for those who have been sleeping on the Bananas, how popular are the Bananas? Like, why is Disneyland and Disney, the company, partnering with a amateur league? Like, this isn't MLB here. This is like little. So, like, how popular are the Bananas?
They are extremely popular. Like, they are not this little TikTok, like, viral, sensation, they have sold out, I think last year, 18 MLB stadiums, 3 football stadiums, with over 70,000 people as far as capacity goes, with more than 200 sellouts since they launched. Like, they have this very fan first like mantra. Like that is what they're all about. They absolutely hate that like these games they sell out and then the tickets go on to these like third party selling sites. They're going for a ton of money because they want to keep this affordable. I think ticket prices are like $35, but like just the size and scale of this, Forbes is estimating that the organization is going to surpass $100 million in revenue this year, turning a profit of something like 11 MLB teams reportedly failed to do last season. So they're giant.
Right. And so, of course, when I found out the bananas, I ended up watching a whole bunch of documentaries and learning everything there is to know. But I remember, I believe Jesse Cole, who's the owner, he's the one that runs around in the yellow tuxedo or suit, so forth. But I mean, I remember him mentioning Walt Disney, I think, in some of his interviews. So I think he's been inspired kind of by this whole fan first, like give an experience, make it fun, make it friendly. So them working together is kind of the best of both worlds. And probably when synergy speaks its loudest is you see something like, and of course, Lauren, you mentioned it first because you saw it on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and they had all these simul posts going out there. And I grabbed some, and I mean, we're talking, 30,000 likes, thousands of comments, because right now they're asking everybody to kind of hashtag.
We've talked about Disney wants to be wherever their target audience is. That's why they're so focused on these brand collaborations. And like, if you look at who is going to these Savannah Banana games and, what their pillars of their business are, to me, like Disney would be silly not to be building on that success and all of the hype around the bananas.
Yeah, so if you're out and about in Disneyland or Disney World at that point in time, you get to see the bananas. Maybe you'll get caught dancing with them or what have you. But we want to hear from you. Have you seen the bananas yet? Are you in one of their lotteries? I think we're in a lottery to try to get in a game. I think in Morgantown. But you know what is much like the lottery, but in this case, spending lots of money and maybe not getting what you value is. Did you hear about the Lightning Lane pass and how that kind of sold out over this busy weekend last weekend?
Okay, let's be clear here. We're not talking about the Lightning Lane. We're talking about the Premier Pass, which is like the expensive one. And don't get us wrong here. So we are looking at one of the busiest stretches of winter right now with President's Day. But this like Lightning Lane Premier Pass selling out, this is across like multiple days. Wasn't this like 7 days in a row that the Premier Pass is selling out or has sold out?
Yeah, you sent me a screenshot from, I think, the Dr. Disney Facebook page, and it was Lightning Lane Premier Pass for Magic Kingdom has been completely sold out for 7 straight days, beginning on February 12th, which is kind of crazy because I was one of those. At first, I thought it was Lightning Lane just in general. I'm like, man, that sucks because you'd want to go down there, you'd want to buy this, but this is the heavy duty one, right? This is like what? $500 per person or something?
Well, it depends when you go. So it's between $119 to $449 per person plus tax. And I think that like during this stretch when it's going to be busy, I think we're at that like $449 range. And so like the prices are obviously highest during, these holiday weeks and higher crowd levels anyways. And I know you're like, listen, like we're in the like winter time. What is going on here? But like I said, President's Day, it was like ski week, it's Mardi Gras. So there's a lot of people in Orlando, and then like a lot of the people that would be going to New Orleans, those residents are really who is, coming down to Orlando. It is a busy time, but we're looking at Magic Kingdom, but we also are seeing this sell out at some of the other parks, right?
Yeah, it sold out at Epcot. I mean, I could see that happening. So you see it at Epcot, I think Hollywood Studios during the same day. Animal Kingdom's the only one. And it'd be a tough one to kind of say, all right, but what is it? Basically, this is a pass where you kind of get to skip the line completely, one ride per day. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's a flat fee, like we just said. And then you can go and do each ride one time at the park that you buy it for. So from what I've read of people talking about it, it is it's an expensive price tag, but it does help the days, go more smoothly.
Yeah, and I went to the comment section and I was just trying to find out what people were saying about this because there was a decent amount of chatter. But Luann from the Facebook said, we bought it for the Magic Kingdom on a recent trip. It's crazy expensive, but it sure makes the day go by easier. Obviously, it's popular, and the great thing is, you don't like it, you don't have to buy it, which is obviously true. But then we got Joseph K basically saying, I'm sorry, but it's absolutely insane. As much as I love Disney, I would not spend that much. And then Marianne said, that's insane. She basically talks, about the cost of getting in plus the hotels. Glad the people have money to do this. She's just going to stick with the regular Lightning Lane. But then Vanessa G says Universal is just as high and their express passes are regularly an additional $200 per day. So I think that's kind of the question that I wanted to talk about. Like, why is everybody kind of getting up in arms about this when Universal's been doing this forever?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, they're selling out, so they're doing something right. But is this unintentionally creating a class system? Like you got your first class citizens that, are going on every ride, and then you get your $25 to $35 option where you could get a couple at a time. Or is this just something that it's inevitable and that we need to deal with? Because I mean, we were annual pass holders for a long time, and like we hardly ever got Lightning Lane, and we still had a great time in the parks. Like we kind of would know, what rides to go on, and for like if we saw that the Haunted Mansion was more than 25 minutes, a half an hour, we're like, we'll wait, we'll come back later. So I mean, like, what are your thoughts, Eric?
I mean, I just couldn't find myself. We have yet to buy the the Express Pass at Universal because I'm like, I just don't see us needing to do that. I mean, but the thing is, if you got one day, you got to get it all done. We take long vacations, so it is all about how long you're there and how you want to optimize. Do you want to wake up early? And if it comes down to convenience and what's best for you, some people have more time than money, and some people have more money than time. So it comes down to what makes sense. And truth be told, some families are big, some families are small. Lauren and I went out to eat the other day, and the price tag for the dinner was a lot higher than I normally would, but it was just her and I. So I'm like, I would do this all the time. I would do character meals at Disney if I didn't have to pay for 3 extra kids. So we're not all created equal in that aspect. So, I mean, I'm not going to judge other people. The one thing that it does kind of suck is a matter of like when you can't talk equally with other individuals of their experience with Disney, because if you go down there and you don't plan on paying for any of this, you're going to wait in a bunch of lines and you might be grouchy about it. And they might hate Disney for this, where somebody buys something like this and it was just walk on every single line. Then you're like, that was a great experience. So you almost have to ask some prefacing questions to be like, all right, what did you buy? How did you do this? To kind of see before you gauge how you like Disney. Any theme park for that matter. Every place has some type of fast pass now. And yeah, no one wants to really wait in line. So if you can skip the line and get right on, it's great. You're just not going to find that naturally, organically now at any of these theme parks. It's all going to be made.
Like, we go to Kennywood or whatever locally, and they have an option, or Cedar Point. Like, they all do. But I just go back to where all of this started, not by a mouse, but with a Michael Eisner interview, and him saying, he is not thrilled of the prices today, and that how hard that it has become for everyone to feel like a VIP. But he also said several times during that interview that like he thinks he would do this, whatever it is, but he doesn't know because he doesn't really know what's at stake. I don't see this going away anytime soon. And like, if you look at it, like it gives people more options and how they want to tour and how they want to experience the parks. And who knows, maybe they're going to try to cram it all in a couple days and then, head over and try Universal. Like you just don't know. But it is newsworthy that they sold out this Premier Pass for 7 days in a row. So something's working.
Yeah, it is supply and demand. The thing is, you vote with your wallets. If you don't buy it, then they won't keep it up. And unfortunately, if we keep selling out, they're going to keep it up, and they'll probably raise the prices as well. So it's up to you guys. It's up to whoever buys it. And you know what? If there's enough people out there that says, you know what, it's well worth it for us, and they justify it, that's great. So it is what it is, and I will tour the parks how I like to tour the parks.
Yes, but we want to hear from you. I mean, would you spend $4.49 Lightning Lane Premier Pass? Let us know your thoughts. But on that note, that does it for this week's episode of Diz and Hers. For more, make sure that you hit up dizandhers.com, where that's where you'll find articles, episodes, and all of the updates. If Disney's your vibe, make sure you hit subscribe here.
And remember, watch what you post. You might end up in next week's episode. Talk to you soon.